Hello everyone and welcome to this devlog for Arkaruh's tale. In today's video I'll take you behind the scenes as we dive into the development process. Specifically, I'll be showing you how to create a new property to add to our Pandora addon. Whether you are an experienced developer or just curious about game development, I hope you'll find this walkthrough both informative and inspiring. So grab your code editor and join me as we bring another exciting feature to life in Arkaruh's tale. Let's dive in and continue the development of the rat mob. It currently has two behaviors. It either flees from the player as soon as they enter its detection range, or it simply wanders around within a designated area, which I'll show you shortly. I'll use the rat mob as our test case to add a new property. This property will define the range of quantity and the specific item that a player can obtain by defeating the mob. One of the exciting additions is a rare item called Rat Ear. Along with this, I'll create a rarity scale that classifies items as common, uncommon, rare, legendary, or mythic. Each rarity level will have its own drop probability, which will be directly assigned to the item. By the end of this session, you'll see exactly how these new features are implemented in the Pandora addon, enhancing both gameplay and the overall loot system. The rat is an extension of our base scene called mob. Essentially, it extends a character body by incorporating a timer that manages the disappearance of the defeated mob's body after the player has interacted with it for the first time. This scene is designed with several key components in mind. Mob area defines the spatial boundary in which the mob operates. Mob entity represents the mob within the game world. Identifier, a unique value used to distinguish this mob within our scene. The scene itself is responsible for detecting the player's presence, handling disengagement when necessary, and becoming interactable upon defeat. Furthermore, it includes a set of methods that can be used called from the LimboAI script to control movement and trigger animation changes, integrated seamlessly with our overall game logic. As I said, the rat extends the mob scene and incorporates several standard components such as sprite, animation player, animation tree, BT player, collision shape, and audio stream player. In addition to this, I created a set of custom components to handle specific gameplay interactions. Detection area. This component is used by mobs to detect the player. Simultaneously, it triggers the display of the mob's health bar when the player enters its view. Disengage area. Unique to the rat's behavior, this area determines when the mob stops fleeing. Once the player moves outside of this area, the mob will cease its evading maneuvers. Interactable area. As seen in previous videos, with the interactions involving the crafting table or trees, this component becomes active once the rat is defeated, allowing for further interactions. Attackable area. This defines the region that can be targeted and attacked by either the player or the mob. Each of these custom components follows a similar structure. They require a defined shape or polygon to work, and expose signals that we can leverage with our scripts to drive the game logic. This modular setup not only keeps our code organized, but also provides a flexible framework for managing interactions and behavior across different entities. Now let's dive into what the BitPlayer's component is all about. BitPlayer is part of the LimboAI addon, which combines behavior trees and state machines to streamline AI creation in our game. In this case, the BitPlayer for the rat is configured with a custom behavior tree that I built earlier. This tree sets up various behaviors, such as moving randomly within a design area, changing animations, or flee from the player upon detection, by evaluating specific conditions, sequences, probabilities, and commands. The routine is implemented through tasks that we developed by the extending BT action, which allows for flexible and precise control over the mob's behavior. For a deeper understanding of how these tasks work and how the behavior tree is structured, I encourage you to check out the documentation or the additional videos linked in the description. Now, let's talk about what exactly the mob area is. The mob area is a custom scene I've created to serve as the environment for mob behavior. It requires a mob entity to operate and includes several specific sub-areas. Movement area defines where the mob can roam. Respawn area specify where the mob reappears after being defeated. Resting area, a designated space for the mob to pause and fully recover. Hunting area, an area that can be used to create predatory behaviors. And watering area, used for replenishing energy, much like the resting area. These last three areas, resting, hunting, and watering, enable us to craft unique behaviors across different mobs. For example, the cows featured in earlier videos also have a behavior tree and might randomly use the watering area to regain energy or stop to rest when needed. Using the same concept, we could design an interaction between the rat and the wolf. The wolf's hunting area could be the same space where mice reside. When a wolf detects a rat within its designated hunting zone, the rat would be attacked. This flexible structure allows us to create dynamic and engaging interaction within the game, enhancing both the realism and the depth of mob behaviors. So now for the mobs, I need here to configure the drops, and to do it I need to create a new property of Pandora, how I done with the item receipt. Open addons Pandora, and to do it we need to create a new type, a new property, and to edit some component, maybe the array editor. So let's start with the type. Create a new script that call item drop. Open it, and now I'll explain you how I created the item receipt, and I show you the same way that I used For the item receipt, I detected what was similar to the behavior of my property. In that case, item receipt was a mix among reference and the integer type of Pandora. In this case, it's almost the same situation, but with two integer data, the min and the max quantity. You need only to know that to create a Pandora property type, you need to configure the category filter if you use it, the settings about the filter, the min and max value of integer, float, or other type that you use, etc, etc. You need also to override init function and to call the constructor of Pandora property type, passing the name of your property, and be careful that this name need to be unique on all Pandora system. The setting that contain all the setting established here, and the icon that you want to use inside Pandora system, and I mean here. You need to override these methods because you need to serialize and deserialize the data of Pandora correctly. As you saw, I only changed the name here, added a new value here, and now we need to create the Pandora item drop to make serialization work. So go on model, create a new script, and call Pandora, item drop. Okay, we finished to write all the Pandora item drop, and as you can see, I configured all the set entity and all the setter and getter. Only for the reference I changed the naming convention because I wanted to cast the entity of our reference as an item entity and configure the reference using the Pandora entity as here. Otherwise, I configured also other methods as load data, save data, and string. Load data and save data is used during serialization and deserialization, and now we need to go on properties to create a new folder called item drop, and here we need to create a scene and its script to integrate it in our Pandora addon. We need also to change this properties bar, if we want to use the new property from here. In this case, I do both, because maybe I want only to give a drop for some case, or as you'll see, I use an array as done yet with the item receipt to set it in the array manager. Okay, I done it. So what this script do? This script hold a current property that is the Pandora item drop that we created, and read the component that we added in our scene here, and I created a ready function that use the refresh method as first method that I'm going to show you after ready function, and I added a statement that if the property is not equals then the null, connect the setting change, the setting cleared signal with our method. I configured all the signal of entity picker and the spin box of min quantity and max quantity, and when entity is selected for the entity picker, or a value is changed for the min quantity or max quantity, I just configure the relative attribute, so entity, min quantity or max quantity, use the method that the methods that we created in our ref counted, and set the default value on the property of Pandora. You need to make this all time, or it doesn't work. In the refresh method, as before, I added a statement to check the property, and if all is fine, I configure the filter and the settings for the all components, and if the default value of property is not equal to null, I get it as a Pandora item drop to set our current property, and use the entity to configure correctly the scene. This method is used, for example, when you reopen, for example, an array manager or the entity itself in Pandora. And the setting change method is used to refresh the components when you change the settings from Pandora from here. Now you need to add the new property also in the property bar. So let's open our property bar scene. Okay, now if you want to use, as me, the new property inside the array, you need to go on types and open the array script and scroll down on right value and check here. After Pandora reference, you need to add a new elif to check if is a Pandora item drop and use the correct save data. Now go on Pandora and let's test. To work all, you need to reload the current project. In this way, Pandora will take again the changes. And now, if you go on mobs, you can see now a new property added on the property bar here. Now, let's add on mobs a new array called drops, and as array type I'll change it with the item drop. As category filter I set items, min quantity, max quantity. Okay, so go rat and change the drops. I reopen it to be sure it work. You can counter some problems because if you don't do all the steps that I show with you, you'll have some problem about the reopening the array manager, for example, or an entity itself, or when you reopen the entire project and come back on Pandora to check your property. For the drop itself, I need to make another development on the rat when it's defeated, but it's not related to this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this devlog and want to support this project, please consider subscribing to the channel for more updates. You can also visit my Ko-Fi page to contribute and unlock some exclusive perks. Your support truly makes a difference and helping continue to bring new features to life in Arkaruh. Thanks again and see you in the next video.